I know. All improvised. I can't read, so that's how I have to do it. Oh, hey, Steve Giammona from the Steve Giammona Show here again. In this episode, I sit down with Faith Marie. Faith runs a social media branding company here in Sacramento. I talked to her about where social media is going, where she sees social media, what it's like to have 12,000 followers, and staying ahead of the curve, being creative, staying out there and staying consistent. Check it out. It's a good one.
Welcome to Steve Giammona Show.
Super not used to hearing myself.
It's weird, right?
Even though I've sang my whole life at church and all of my music that I do there, I sing in front of thousands of people and I still freak out when I hear my own voice.
Yeah. And everyone's always like, oh, your voice always sounds like, I'm sure my voice is annoying, but when you hear it back, you're like, my voice really is kind of weird. It's weird hearing yourself. So
yeah, especially in your ears.
Yeah. So, hey, it's nice to finally meet you.
Thank you.
I know we went back and forth a lot on email, but Faith Marie.
Yeah.
Lopez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to kind of tell everyone what you do? It's pretty interesting. So,
yeah. I basically run and created something out of nothing, which is a social media management company back when nobody really even knew that could be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
In 2013.
Yeah. It's super interesting. So you're like you mentioned, kind of a contractor or a freelance, and you have companies that reach out to you and you do their social media.
Yeah. Manage it, run it, provide the program, support with efforts like.
Shit. Sorry. I just leaned over and I pulled something and I hope I didn't mess up the podcast, but no, it should be fine. So sorry.
Yeah. Just basically a one-stop shop for only social media. So for up to this point, it's just been PR agencies that add in social media to their packages, but give 1 or 2 posts per month and charge an astronomical amount, which never gives them the visibility they could possibly have.
The consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember my job as an example, they have a Facebook, but they don't post consistently enough. So it's just kind of
it's redundant. It's nothing it's not adding to the company brand.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it's it was when I was starting out, but now it's even more so where people are just completely shifting away from traditional marketing efforts for the most part, because most part companies aren't like Nike.
Yeah. They can't afford, or they're
not as big as these big brands. And so their efforts have to be very focused.
Yeah.
To basically, okay, well, where are we going to put our money? What's the best use of our money? How to get the most exposure as quick as possible. And so that's where social media management, and I used to call myself a strategist and a specialist, but now it's no, I can't even do that because the algorithms make my specialty moot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what an algorithm is? I've heard it broken down, but it's kind of it's I use Spotify, and if I listen to, I don't know, say Eminem, doesn't that then
your choice will trigger another algorithmic choice.
Okay.
So it spots your trends and it tries to help you by encouraging you to listen or do more things that you have just done immediately.
So the similar to.
Yes.
So Eminem, whoever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. That's kind of what I thought it was.
It's meant there to support the user, but then when my job just becomes harder.
Oh, because you almost have to stay ahead of the algorithm in a sense?
Because I'm not as predictable as an algorithm thinks I am.
Oh.
So I'm trying to build a community, so I'm not going to stick to one theme or trend that I personally like.
Okay.
Because, say, my client Visit Sacramento is supposed to be very broad.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to build community. But if I'm sticking to, I only like calligraphy and I'm liking calligraphy videos all day long, that's not really helping the brand.
Yeah, it's not helping Visit Sacramento.
Yeah, or anybody other. Anything.
Yeah. And so I reached out to you through I found you on Visit Sacramento through the Instagram.
Yeah.
The Instagram.
Yeah.
And I've been following that site I've had an Instagram for probably 7 or 8 years now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long I've been following Visit Sac, but
I started in November 2013.
okay.
November 7th, to be specific.
Wow. The exact date.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
I wrote this down.
Okay.
Number one, because it was like my first ever like opportunity to work for somebody else than myself. And
Okay.
number two, they weren't paying me. So
Oh,
I
wow.
needed to make sure I knew the date I started so that 6 months later, I can be like, all right, this is where we're at in 6 months.
Yeah, I got you.
I've gotten you to 10,000 followers. Now you got to pay up. No,
So
it wasn't like that, but
yeah. Oh, well, but so yeah, that was another thing. I reached out and you got back in contact with me, and then I looked at the amount of followers that Visit Sacramento has, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be like a pretty this is kind of a big deal because it's
Yeah.
like what, 111,000 followers.
yeah, we just got to 12 like
Oh,
a couple
wow.
days,
Oh.
112,000.
That's awesome.
It goes pretty quick. Like almost every month, we're bumping up at least 1,000 or more.
Jeez.
And that's organic engagement. There's
Mm-hmm.
no paid advertisement unless it's centered around like some Visit Sacramento campaign that they need to promote.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's all been organic community building from what I can do for them.
Okay. Yeah, it's great because it is. Sacramento's growing so fast, and I grew up in Lodi, half hour
Yeah.
south of here. Are you from Sacramento?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you're okay.
I was born in Fairfield, but like we moved to Elk Grove when I was like 3. So
Oh, okay.
technically.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived all over California, and we've been here probably like 9, maybe 10 years now, and just in that time period,
Yeah.
it's just exploded
Yeah.
to where I went to an art exhibit last night at Access with my brother-in-law, and then afterwards we're like, let's just go walk around. Like, let's go find a place to sit down and have a beer. And I haven't done that in so long, just because life. And then it was like, whoa, where did all of this stuff come from? Like, we ended up at Bottle and Barlow. You're like, dude, this place is great. This is awesome, you know? And
Yeah, I know the guy who owns that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super cool
Yeah.
place.
He's got like a jillion followers on Instagram. And he's
Really?
huge in the hair business. His name is Anthony.
Yeah, it's a
Anthony the barber. He's on Instagram.
oh, okay. I think I've probably seen that guy.
So
somewhere.
he teamed up with like this guy who has other restaurants in Sacramento,
Mhm.
and so he's like the barber shop side, and then there's the restaurant side, and so they kind of
yeah,
collaborated it.
I came out of the bathroom and turned the wrong way, and I was like, whoa, what the?
So you technically it's like a 21 and over haircutting
Yeah.
salon.
Yeah, if I had hair, I would go get it cut more. But that is one cool thing about like going to a barber. Like they always usually can offer you a beer, so or a soda.
Yeah.
But so I listened to a podcast that you were on previously. I believe it was Choosing Your Own Path,
Mhm.
and you mentioned that you just reached out to Visit Sacramento, just kind of like on a whim, taking risks. How? I mean, that's kind of what it's about, right? Just taking this giant leap, and if they got back to you, they got back to you.
Yeah, it didn't hurt that I already had my own following and that I had been like chosen as like top 10 Instagrammer on, and I hate to say it, but it's like Vanity Fair Italy online. So it's like Vanity Fair, but Italy, but online.
I actually clicked on that link on your website, which is faithmarie.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, top 10 Instagrammers. That's crazy. And I clicked on it. I was like, I can't read any of this.
It's in another language and it's online. But hey, it helped me to get my foot in the door because I don't even have to say anything. It's like Vanity Fair says it all.
Yeah.
And I can still disclaimer it with Italy and online, but maybe that doesn't matter to anybody. But it was like one of the only times I ever used something to my own personal advantage to get somewhere I wanted to go. And then after that, all the clients came to me from that. And then I just started building what I could try to build, which was like a social management company, not really starting out as a business person.
So
I kind of had to learn a lot.
yeah, you're kind of learning as you're going, which is probably, I mean, that's how I learned fast.
everybody.
Yeah. Like, we'll just figure it out as we go. But, so what kind of, I mean, you're constantly having to stay ahead of everything, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So what keeps it? I mean, you obviously love it if you're doing it and you're putting in hours. And on that podcast, you mentioned your day. Like you wake up and you just automatically just hit the feeds and make sure everything's up there. And I mean, do you ever need a break from social media?
So after 7 years of 24/7, 365 days a year, 7 years of this, so you count the days.
A lot.
2 weeks ago was the first time I didn't post something.
Whoa.
Because I'm growing my company.
Yeah.
I'm delegating, pushing tasks to other people. I'm trying to grow the company. I'm a woman. I'm an emotional person. And then I have a business to run. So I had to like separate some things from myself so that I can actually step away and like level up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to do that. Like everything I do is very emotionally driven. And so that's part of my success. But it did suck me really dry to the point where I was like, I'd rather give it up and go back to being poor than to deal with this stress. But what I really needed to do was just kind of like delegate and let it go.
Yeah, that's something I struggle with is delegating stuff.
Yes.
Because if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself.
Well, until you're looking at your business like not succeeding the way you want it to, you have to have like these really in-depth conversations with yourself about like, okay, all the strengths in my company and all my weaknesses are coming from me. And I don't believe that is a way to grow a company.
No, you have to bring in people.
Yeah.
You have to get the team underneath you.
Yeah. It's easy to say.
Oh, yeah,
it's
no, 100%.
really hard to do.
100%. Because I'll look at stuff and I'm like, why are they doing it that way? And you're like, oh, yeah, because they either don't know how, they can't afford to bring it in, or they just don't know what path to take. I've worked for companies like that.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you guys want all this change, but then you're micromanaging the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
So
literally, I've just in the past, since like January, like past month and a half, I came back from traveling in the middle of January, and I connected with a lady who's going to help me business consult and restructure the company, give me like path to move forward. I hired a 21-year-old creative director, 24-year-old, like 25-year-old influencer manager and client relations. And then I'm like basically pushing forward as fast as I can to make some changes because I personally want to do more creative stuff outside of my clients.
Okay.
But I still want to run and manage and build my company to produce like the cash flow,
No, yeah, I get
so to speak, for these other ventures that I want to do, which I really can't until things are like legalized. I can't really speak about them.
Okay.
Just because I know this industry, and if I spit it out, it's gonna be snatched away.
Yeah, and you don't want to say anything that'll get you in trouble, all that stuff. So, so you mentioned that you sang and you're classically trained. How did you transition from that to social media management? Did you
funny you say that. Like, part of this new change that I'm doing is actually I'm telling my personal life story on my Instagram.
Okay, I saw that.
I don't know if you catch that.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Yeah.
So that's going to be a part of the things I'll probably like share later. But a lot of it has to be very religious centric for me.
Okay.
And so I grew up in church, and then I went to college at like 20 or 17 because I graduated early.
Wow.
And then I kind of went into music around 20 as far as like classically trained music, which was completely different from gospel stuff. So I kind of was like all gospel centric. And then I went like full on into like this huge like classical career for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Traveled all over the place and then quit it like that because it was like either social media or music. And it was just like I was hitting my head against a brick wall with music for a lot of other reasons than just financial. And I was like, okay, this is either going to like break me down. I'm not a quitter, but I quit music.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of talked about it on the other ones, but I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of get burned out on it. And it's like, okay, I've done this for so long. And obviously with music, you're constantly growing, and you kind of with everything, you just keep learning and growing and doing it. But like, I don't want to say it wasn't fun, but yeah, you just kind of hit a wall with it and you're like, all right, well, I was never like really in it to make money. I'm not in a cool band or whatever. And it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, if you liked what you just heard and you'd like to hear more than just a 14-minute long clip, like and subscribe to Steve Giammona Show. It can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate it. Okay. Does that work?